What's up, tribe? How you guys doing? Go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and I hope you like this video. This is Queen Sugar season 2. Season 6, episode 2. So we are at the hospital. Mr. Prosper, we find out, is in a medically induced coma. All of the borderlines are at the hospital. You know, of course, minus Charlie, who is still in LA. And they're nervous, they're scared, they're worried, all the things that you would expect them to be. And they're talking about her, Mr. Prosper's daughter. Well, the daughter shows up, and you immediately sees that there is some tension between the daughter and these borderlines. She immediately lets the doctor know, listen, I am his next of kin. I am the only blood relative that he has in this hospital. So anything needs to come through me. She has his medical record. She says, listen, he got top-notch insurance. So whatever you need, make it happen. Whatever you need to do to help my father, let's make it happen. Now, when she sees Nova, she immediately kind of rolls her eyes and looks off to the side. So there's a story here. Remember, they all grew up together because they all knew Prosper. They all, So there's a story here which I think is going to open up a whole new storyline, for us with these families. Ava tells everybody to go ahead and go home, that she'll stay there. Now that his daughter has arrived, they've been at the hospital all night. Go get some sleep, go get some rest, so forth and so on. We see Nova checking in on Ralph Angel. Ralph Angel says, listen, we got to head on up. We're going to get the sonogram done. And I had told Mr. Prosper he was going to be the first one that was going to see my baby, And so, we see them have that little sister-brother moment. And she's just, you see that she sees the daughter, and it's almost like she thinks about going over to talk to the daughter, but then she sort of kind of, walks off. We see, the son, I'm sorry, yeah. We see the son, he's outside of the hospital. He's on the phone talking to a friend, and a police officer walks past him and tells him, watch out. And it seems kind of rude at first, but then you see that there's some people, a guy in a wheelchair coming behind him, and I think the cop was just kind of telling him to get, make sure he's not in the path or whatever. But of course, there's a whole lot of PTSD involved in that, where you see him flashing back to what happened to Mr. Prosper, flashing back to what happened to him when he was pulled over by the police a few seasons back. And we see him talking to Hollywood, and both of them are nervous, and both of them are worried about Mr. Prosper, but they're like, listen, it's going to be all right. He's going to be all right. It's going to be okay. Don't let yourself go, get you some rest, and we good. Now, out in LA, Charlie is meeting with the bigwigs of the DNC. They don't say it's the DNC, but child, it's the DNC. And they're talking about how they're, trying to focus on local elections, and they're trying to focus on getting the right people in these state legislatures. Because, listen, if you follow me, if you follow El Teddy, even Tabitha Speaks, you follow us, and we get into these politics, and we talk about the importance of the local elections, and yada, 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 and boo, boo, boo. And so, they're telling her, listen, we've been watching you. We know what you got going on. And we think you might be a viable candidate to move up to the next level, to run for run for state. They want to get her in the state legislature. And, of course, she's flattered. She's listening. She's heard what they're talking about. They said, do you have any skeletons in your closet? She said, I ain't got no skeletons in my closet. Now, I think that's a relative term, because I really think we're talking about skeletons skeletons in the closet that we can sweep under the rug, or skeletons in the closet that's going to decimate you. Because a lot of Charlie's messes out there, like that whole situation with her trying to cover up the rape and all that other stuff. But then there's some other things that not everybody knows, like them 2 workers getting killed because she made them work through the hurricane. That's a little thing that could be a big thing. I mean, it's not a little thing, people died, but y'all know what I'm saying. So, but her meeting went really well, of course. And we see Ava back at the hospital, Ava with the daughter. And the doctor tells them, listen, you know, this is what's going on with Mr. Prosper. I was hoping to see better progress, but it doesn't seem like he's moving, you know, he's progressing as fast as we think he is. Then maybe, you know, maybe we'll need to take a surgery option, you know. And Vi was like, well, I don't think we need to do that. And the daughter is like, with all due respect, that's not your decision to make. Like, I'm his daughter. I will be the one to make the decision about what it is that he will and won't do, or what we gonna do. And Vi says, well, listen, I hear what you're saying, but you ain't been here, and he's my friend, and I've known him for, you know, 40 years, and I'm telling you, we don't need to do surgery yet. And she was like, we? What part of what am I telling you that you're not understanding? There is no we in this conversation. It is me, and it is my decision on what I'm going to do with my daddy. And so Aunt Vi is trying to talk to her and tell her, listen, we can get through this. And it keep being we. And she keeps trying to tell Vi, it ain't no we, it's me. And then Vi gets frustrated and gets mad and said, listen, I'm the one that was sitting in this hospital room with him the last time he was here, when you couldn't be bothered to come down here and visit. What'd she say that for? Whether it's true or not, what she say that for? Baby, that daughter went to the doctor and let the doctor know, I am his next of kin, and I do not want this woman here. I don't want her here, and I don't want nobody from her family here. That is it. That is all. Ain't Vi gonna turn to the doctor and say, you know me. You know I was in this hospital room with him the last time. You know I was here every day. And he looked at her and said, but she the next of kin. I'm like, come on, Ava, you know how this go. That is the next of kin. You don't get a say in this. You don't get a conversation in this. So anyway, then we see the son, Charlie's son. Y'all know the name escapes me, child. Charlie's son we see him, you know, back on campus. He's talking to a friend of his, and, you know, they're supposed to be studying, but, you know, he keeps sort of wandering off. And again, he's thinking about, you know, his experiences with the police. And so he tells his friend, you know, I have a friend of mine was at the hospital all night. A friend of mine was beaten by the police. Now listen. What happened to Mr. Prosper is unfortunate. And yes, that cop was doing a little bit too much. But they didn't beat Mr. Prosper. He grabbed Mr. Prosper. Mr. Prosper pulled away from him and lost his balance and fell. That is not a beating. Listen, it's bad enough what happened. We ain't got to exaggerate. Don't do that. Don't make it worse. I mean, what he did was bad. He was being disrespectful to Mr. Prosper. He was out of line. But don't do that. Anyway. So he ends up calling his mama. Even after Aunt Vi said, don't bother your mama. She got important meetings. I'll tell her what's going on after she meet with her people. I don't want her to be distracted. I want her to do what she got to do. He called his mama anyway and let his mama know what's going on. She like, I'll be on the next thing smoking. He was like, you ain't got to come, mom. Boy, bye. I'm on my way. Bye. Peace. Now, you knew that's what your mama was going to do when you called her, and that's what you really wanted. And if you wanted your mama, that's all you had to say was that you wanted your mama. So then we see Aunt Vi calling Nola saying, listen, you need to do something about your friend. She done banned me from the hospital. She done banned all of us from the hospital. Can you please call her and tell her to get it together, because I need to get in there to see my man. Not my man like Hollywood is her man, but her friend, Mr. Prosper. So she does. She calls Aunt Vi. She calls the daughter and leaves a message on her voicemail, but of course, she was like, well, what you say? Well, what did she say? Well, how did we get here? Then she starts feeling like that. Somebody called Nova. Her phone started blowing up. Somebody called her, and they have the voice message of her calling the police saying she needs the sheriff. Well, of course, that is causing a big stir. All of her followers, all her people, Twitter is canceling her. They got a whole hashtag saying cancel Nova Borderline, because she was doing this whole cancel the police, defund the police, defund the police. But now they got you on a voicemail asking for the police. So, of course, it's making her feel some kind of way. Then she feel like her phone is being tapped because it's making these weird noises. And she's just overall feeling unsure of herself. She is just overall feeling very, very nervous. Which, of course, is unfortunate, because Anyway, it's unfortunate, child. So then we see when Hollywood is getting ready, he's being interviewed by the local TV station for his meeting place, his the spot, the place, his situation that he got going on. And he's like, he's nervous and everything, and they're doing these series of events, basically. I mean, these series of stories on the local news, basically addressing after we coming out of COVID, like people getting back to their normal lives, people getting back to their day to day. And so that's what the interview is about. And he's a little nervous, and Vi's telling him, you got this, don't worry about it, you gonna be okay. And then of course she's telling him about what happened at the hospital and how upset she is. And at this point, everybody know that sometimes Aunt Vi be doing too much, right? Sometimes she overstep, and sometimes she be doing too much. Now the family sort of lets her get away. They really don't let her get away with it. That's why her and Ralph Angel ain't speaking now. But when it's other people that we find out later on that the daughter already kind of got a problem with Aunt Vi, like, you can't be pushing people's buttons like that. So she's supposed to meet him down at the spot while he's being interviewed. She's his good luck charm. She said, I got a run to make first. And we back at that little secret she was keeping last week. Now, y'all was putting under my comments that y'all thought it was Jimmy Dale. I knew good and damn well it wasn't him. I said, I feel like she wouldn't spit on him if he was on fire. Like, I know that she got a good spirit and she be helping people out, but I don't think she got that good of a spirit. She ain't helping out that many people. But we find out it's not him. It's actually the opposite of him. She's helping out a battered woman. Now, here's my problem with this whole situation. Number one, how you find this woman? Who is she and how you find her? And if she's from a former season and I just don't remember, y'all put it in the comments and let me know. Number two, why you can't tell Hollywood? Why is it such a big secret? I understand that she has to be in hiding. I understand that, it is a very scary situation. You don't want him the husband to find the family. I get all of that. But why you can't tell Hollywood? Like, why are you lying to your husband about this situation? He know who you are. He know you for your works. He know that you're going to help these people. And he probably would help you help them. But why you not telling them? That's the part that I'm a little nervous about. I'm not nervous, but that's the part I'm not understanding. Like, why is it a secret? We'll get back to that. So Ralph Angel and Darla, they went to the doctor. They found out that they having a little girl. And so, of course, Ralph Angel is all excited and he can't wait. Darla said, I want to do everything right with this pregnancy. I'm going to eat right. I'm going to eat, salads and juices and quinoa. And I'm going to do baby yoga. And I just want to do everything right because of all the mistakes I made. Hell, she was strung out when she was pregnant with the other baby, So Charlie gets to the hospital and she don't know what's going on with the borderlines being banned from the hospital because she was on the plane and she didn't get that memo. So she goes straight to the hospital. She's looking for, Mr. Prosper. Well, she runs into the daughter and again, you could tell that they know each other. They speak, they're cordial, and she lets her know, and she's very nice to Charlie to say, listen, you won't hear, so you don't know what went down, but I just think that I want to limit the amount of people that I have around, my father. He needs his rest. He doesn't need all this extra in and out. She says it very politely, but basically she lets Charlie know you can't see him. And to Charlie's credit, she has a good conversation with her. She says, listen, you remind me a lot of myself. You feel the need to control everything. She said, and I lost precious moments with my father because I was so busy trying to fix everything and control everything that I thought wouldn't be okay if I wasn't there to make it okay. And I get it. But I'm going to implore you, don't waste time on unnecessary things and take away precious moments that you have with your father because you can't get that back. And, you have a chance that I didn't have. She said, and she also said, excuse me, it's never too late to fix it. Whatever the problem is between you and your daddy, it's never too late to fix it. And so again, we all been saying all along, where the hell is why Prosper daughter ain't there? Why she not coming around? Why she ain't come see him when he was sick? Why he was by himself during COVID? They would ask him, when's the last time you talked to your daughter? And he'd say, oh, it's been a couple of months or whatever. So we know that their relationship is strained. And again, you feel like there's more to this story than what we're sort of getting right in the moment. So Nova got herself a new neighbor, and you know, he is right up her alley. He teaches cultural anthropology down to Tulane. He travels a lot for his work. He's a nice looking little black man moving into the house across the street or what have you. And you know, they have a little chance meeting, and then like at the end of the episode, I'm gonna just go ahead and knock them out. Then at the end of the episode, you know, he comes over to the house to do something, bring her some food or something for her hospitality. I think, and she assumed that the lady that moved into the house before him was his wife. He was like, oh no, that's my sister, you know, because you know, I travel so much. She, you know, moved in for me and, you know, help me get settled. And so, of course, you know, the minute he said sister, not wife, Nova was like, ding, 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 ding. But she's kind of stressed out and upset. And he's like, what's going on? And so she said, look, it's been a stressful couple of days. And he was like, well, you can tell me what's going on. And so she shows him on Twitter where they trying to cancel her. And she said, I was trending for about a day over to the Twitter. And this is what's going on. And so he talks to her about it and says, listen, you know, it's going to be all right. You know, if you need a friend, you need to talk, let me know. I'm here. You know, that kind of thing. So Hollywood is down to the spot waiting for his interview. Micah, that's him. Micah is down there taking his pictures, of course. And then, you know, Hollywood is telling him, you know, showing him where he's going to put his pictures and, you know, giving him a tour of the place and all that good stuff. And, he's texting Aunt Vi. He's like, where are you? You said you would be here. You had to make a run and then you'd be on your way. And she said, I'm on my way now. And so we see that this is where we get to meet the family. It's a woman and her son. They're at the hotel. She's scared as hell. She thinks that the son done sent the daddy a text message because it was his birthday and he's missing his father because he's a kid and he don't get it. And she's nervous that he'll be able to track the text and all this other stuff. And so, you know, Vi calms her down and realizes that the text never went through because the Wi-Fi is janky. And she lets her know, listen, it's going to be okay. Like, I get it. I understand. I was in your shoes once. Don't worry about it. You can call me when you need me. And she's like, thank you so much for everything you're doing for us. Oh, my gosh. Oh, my gosh. Oh, my gosh. And so she gets her calmed down and she said, can you talk to my son and explain to him the importance? Like, I get it that that's his daddy, but can you explain to him the importance of not reaching out to his father? Like, we really can't afford that right now. And so she says, I'll talk to him. You know, let me know. I'll talk to him. So she talks to the little boy. She gets him to calm down. So she says, all right, I got to go now. And they convince her, that little boy asked her to stay for dinner because she had bought them some food and asked her to stay and eat dinner with them. And she was like, I really have to go. And she was like, please, 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 please. And so, of course, she does. So she basically stands up Hollywood, you know, for them. And again, I say, why you can't tell Hollywood what's going on? If Hollywood knew that them people was in that damn hotel and that's where you were, it wouldn't have been no problem. But when you ended up going home that night, Hollywood was in his feelings because you never made it. You missed the interview. And then she told him some story about she was having a toilet problem down at the diner. So, of course, on his way home, he drove past the diner. He was like, the lights was out. She said, I just left. She said, we must have missed each other because when I left the diner, I went past the meeting place, the spot, and you weren't there. And he ain't buying it. I guess, you know, that's one of those things where you tuck it away in the back of your mind because you're like, okay, that don't even sound right, and I don't think that's right, but I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take that and I'm going to tuck it away in the back of my mind, but I don't know about that one. So, we see Charlie get a phone call from some constituents and they cussing her out, telling her, you know, going off on her. And of course, we see her pull out the business card from the people she met with in California. And I'm sure she's thinking, ugh, if I could just get away from these local politics. So, you know, you see her contemplating it. Then we see Nova go over to Mr. Prosper's house to talk to the daughter. And again, we don't get the whole story, but we get enough of the story to know that the two of them were once upon a time, they were really good friends. Something happened between them. She left. Nova stayed. She said she couldn't wait to get away from there. Nova was like, well, I love it here. I would never leave my family. And she basically says, listen, you need to let Ava go visit Prosper. Like, we were here. You ain't been here. A lot has gone on. He loves this place. And Ava means no harm. And she said, but she is bossy. And she, you didn't hear what she said to me. She was disrespectful to me. And she doesn't respect me for who I am. Like, I'm not a child anymore. When we were kids, she used to always try to boss us around and tell us what to do. But I'm not a child anymore. And you don't get to tell me what to do. And you don't get to tell me, and that's what it is. And so she said, and y'all act like, I don't love my daddy or something. I invited him to come to Chicago, but he couldn't leave his precious saint, the parish. And, it's not like I don't love my daddy, but, like I know that this relationship was always strained, and that it's never been a great relationship between him. And, something they brought up, and I forgot now, I kept telling y'all there's a difference between the book and the TV show. Mr. Prosper in the book used to be a drunk. And I feel like they sort of said something about that here, because they said something about him used to have to be carried home. So I'm wondering if when they were younger, Mr. Prosper was in that bottle, and that's part of where their relationship is strained. Now, if I didn't hear it that way, y'all correct me, but I thought that's what I had heard. But neither here nor there, Nova pulled the whole card, because after they had this whole conversation and she still was acting like she wasn't gonna let Ava go see Mr. Prosper, she said, well, listen, you owe me. And the minute she said you owe me, she changed her tune, and she was like, fine, she can go see. I'll talk to the doctor. I'll talk to the hospital tomorrow. Now, I don't know what is going on between her and Ava. I don't know what the situation is, but not Ava, but Nova. I don't know what she I don't know, but that's Nova pulled that whole card. Now, the very last scene of this episode, Bob tried to take me out. Okay, we see Ralph Angel going to the hospital to visit Mr. Prosper. He pulls that curtain back, and that bed is empty. And you immediately see all of those emotions where Ralph Angel is thinking that Mr. Prosper died. And he is about to fall out. He is about to cry. He is about to have a whole moment in that hospital room. Listen, that happened to me one time with my cousin. She was sick, and I went to the hospital. I got into her room, and that bed was empty. I said, bitch. So I understand that immediate feeling of thinking the worst when they're not in that bed. And then here come Mr. Prosper walking out the bathroom talking about some Ralph Angel. What's up? And Ralph Angel is looking at him like, oh my gosh. And so he took him to sonogram, because remember, he had promised Mr. Prosper he'd be the first person to see the pictures of the baby. And so he shows him that it's a girl, and Mr. Prosper lets him know, listen, the relationship between a father and daughter is very precious. He said, please don't do the same thing. Please don't make the same mistakes that I made with mine. He was like, I wish basically the regrets that he had. And the two of them share a moment. And and Ralph Angel tells him it's never too late. Like, it's not too late. You can fix it. You can work on it. Mr. Prosper is like, yeah, it's not too late. And Ralph Angel says, Mr. Prosper, I love you. And Mr. Prosper says, I love you too. And they both sit there crying. Listen, it was a moment, okay? Ralph Angel know he played that part. Anyway, y'all let me know what y'all think, and I'll talk to y'all later. Peace.